Muy buenos días a todos. Salude a dos, tres que tenga ahí al lado, los que tiene detrás.
Good morning to everybody. Say hi to 2 or 3 people that you have beside you.
Qué rico verlos en casa.
It's so good to see you.
Bien, hoy el servicio es un poquito diferente.
So today the service is going to be a little different.
Hoy estamos celebrando nuestro 5º aniversario
Today we are celebrating our 5th year anniversary.
y vamos a hablar un poquito de lo que Dios ha hecho
And we're going to talk a little bit about what God has done.
y de lo que hará y el plan para el próximo año.
And what He's going to do and what the plan that we have for the following year.
Siempre en el aniversario hacemos eso, hablamos qué ha hecho y qué va a hacer.
Always in the anniversaries we talk about what God has done and what He's going to
Veo
do.
algunas caras nuevas.
I see some new faces.
Bienvenidos.
Welcome.
Qué rico tenerlos por aquí.
It's so good to have you
Otros
here.
sé que están de visita, bienvenidos.
Others are visiting for the first time. Welcome.
Y de visita otros vienen de Colombia, la familia de Nati, Miguel, gracias por estar aquí, bienvenidos.
Natalia and Miguel's family are coming from Colombia. Welcome.
Y bien, de pronto estaba esperando un super mensaje el día de hoy.
So, I don't know, maybe some of you were expecting a super powerful message today.
Le pido disculpas.
I just want to say I'm sorry.
Hoy no va a ser la super prédica,
It's not going to be the super preaching today,
pero la otra semana se la tengo.
but next week come and we'll have it for
Así
you.
que lo espero.
So, we'll be waiting.
All right, buddy, put the thing up. Alrighty, go for it. Uy, mira. Bien, entonces comenzamos hace 5 años con el deseo de empoderar familias, dándoles herramientas para desarrollar su relación con Dios, primero que todo, y alcanzar el potencial que Dios ha colocado en ellos.
So, we started 5 years ago with the goal of empowering families by providing the tools to help them help them develop their relationship with God and reaching their divine potential in their life.
Como ustedes saben, el eslogan de nuestra iglesia
As you know, our church slogan,
es restaurando el mundo con Dios, una familia a la vez.
it's restoring the world with God one family at a time.
Así como decía Fernando hace un poquito,
So, as Fernando was saying a bit ago,
llegamos con ese sueño, con ese deseo.
we came here with that dream, with that desire.
Ya vi alguna gente aquí trabajando.
There was already some people here working.
Estaba Andrés con su esposa en ese entonces, Ramiro, Fausto y otras familias que llevaban un año dándole.
Andres, Fausto, Ramiro with their wives were here, and they were here preparing, they were doing the work before we got
Ya
here.
habían preparado el terreno, ya tenían algunas familias y era tremendo lo que habían hecho en un año.
They were already preparing everything, they already had some families they were discipling, and it was beautiful and amazing to see what
Y
they had done in a
nosotros
year.
llegamos a visitar un día con mi esposa.
And so my wife and I just came to visit one day.
Nunca pensamos en Calgary, yo no sabía dónde era Calgary.
I had never thought about Calgary or staying in Calgary. I didn't even know where it was.
Lo único que me han dicho es que era muy frío
The only thing they had told me about Calgary was that it was very cold.
y que el que se venía para acá se iba después, se devolvía para Toronto.
And that those that came to Calgary would go back, those that came to Calgary would go back to Toronto.
Pero apenas llegamos,
But the moment we arrived,
yo sentí que me tenía que quedar
I felt like I needed to stay here.
y hablé con mi esposa
And so I spoke with my wife
y le dije, ¿tú qué piensas?
and I told her, what do you think?
Porque el Señor ya me estaba diciendo que me quedara.
Because the Lord was already speaking to me about staying here.
Pero imagínese que me demoré 7 años para convencerla que se viniera de Bogotá a Toronto.
But imagine in our relationship, it took me 7 years to convince her to come from Bogota in Colombia to Canada.
Entonces yo dije, no, de Toronto a Calgary otros 7 no.
So I thought, from her to move from Calgary from Toronto to Calgary was going to be another 7
Le dije,
years.
Señor, si eres tú, háblale a ella porque yo ya no le voy a decir nada.
And so I said, God, if this is your will, speak to her because I'm not going to do anything about it.
Y efectivamente ella me dijo, ¿tú no crees que el Señor nos quiere aquí?
And effectively, that's what happened. She told me, she's like, don't you think the Lord wants us here in Calgary?
Así que simplemente nos unimos al esfuerzo de estas familias que ya estaban.
So simply all we did is we united with the goal and the movement that this family was doing the work.
Pero el deseo que había
But the desire that there was
y el deseo que hay aún
and the desire that there still is
restaurar a la gente con Dios,
to restore people with God.
enfocados en la familia,
Focusing specifically on families.
enfocados en la identidad,
Focusing on identity.
que cada quien conozca quién realmente es,
That every single person would know really who they truly are.
lo que Dios dice de ti
What God says about you.
y que puedas llevar a cabo todo lo que Dios ha planeado con tu vida.
And that you could do everything that God has planned for your
Así
life.
que han sido 5 años de eso.
So it's been 5 years of that.
¿Y qué hemos visto en estos 5 años?
So what have we seen in these 5 years?
Ha habido muchos matrimonios restaurados.
There have been many restored marriages.
Si de pronto hazme así, si el Señor ha hecho algo en tu matrimonio,
Raise your
en
hand
tu
if
familia.
the Lord has
Si
done
alguno
something
de
in your marriage
ustedes ha
for you.
recibido algo en su
Anybody here?
matrimonio, sanidad y liberación a nivel personal, de heridas del pasado, de enfermedades, ¿alguien?
There's been
Dios ha
healing
tocado
and
su vida.
deliverances in this place.
De adicciones,
Free
ha
from
habido
addictions.
jóvenes restaurados,
Youth have been restored.
muchas relaciones de hijos con sus padres, padres a sus hijos restauradas.
Many relationships with fathers to their children and children to their fathers have
También
been
ha habido
restored.
muchas familias prosperadas.
There have also been many families who have prospered.
Cuando llegamos aquí casi todos estaban en renta
When we got here, everybody was living in rent,
o habían quedado en la quiebra algunos.
or they had, been broke or
Bankrupt,
bankruptcy.
habían cerrado negocios
People had closed their
y
businesses.
la moral estaba por el piso
The morale was to the floor. No one had any,
y las finanzas también, ¿no?
and the finances were also very low.
Hicieron eso, lo máximo que hacíamos así para una fiesta era un pollo del Costco,
The biggest party we did was just buy a chicken from Costco
así, o ahí del Safeway,
or from Safeway.
y las cosas han cambiado.
But now things have changed.
O muchos de ustedes tienen casas,
A lot of you now have homes,
empresas,
you have businesses,
buenos trabajos,
you have good jobs,
inversiones.
you have investments.
Dios ha sido bueno.
God has been faithful.
Nos hemos convertido en una comunidad fuerte
We have become a strong community,
y hemos visto muchos milagros y el favor de Dios sobre nosotros.
and we have seen a lot of miracles and the favor of God over
Así
us.
que estamos agradecidos por lo que Dios ha hecho.
So we are very grateful for what God has done.
Y no solo quiero agradecerle a Dios,
Now, I don't only want to thank God,
que lo hago todo el tiempo,
and I always do that,
pero también le doy gracias a ustedes,
but I also want to thank each and every one
a
of
todos
you.
los que han estado con nosotros durante este tiempo,
All of you that have been with us during this time,
aún los que no están aquí ahora, de pronto siguieron su camino en otra dirección, pero gracias a ellos también,
and even those who are not here in this moment and they took another path, but we thank them as well.
porque cada uno ha puesto su granito de arena y su semilla para que todo esto sea una realidad.
Because every single person has sown a seed for this to become a reality.
Gracias a todos los que han contribuido económicamente,
We thank you to everybody who has contributed financially,
porque hacen que todo esto sea posible.
because that makes all of this possible.
Cuando buscamos este lugar,
When we looked for this place,
Chan dice, pastor, ¿y por qué escogió este lugar?
a lot of people said, Pastor, why did you choose this place?
Porque era el más barato
Because it was very cheap
y no había plata.
and there was no money.
En ese entonces se recogían como unos $1,500 mensuales.
In that moment, when for our tithes and offerings, we would gather around $1,500 a month,
Y este local costaba casi $4,000.
and this place was almost $4,000 a month.
O sea que inclusive eso fue alta fe.
So even so, we had a lot of faith to get this place.
El que seguía ya valía 7.
The next one is probably going to be around $7,000,
Y esto era un parqueo,
and this was
a parking. Y aquí no había nada.
there was nothing here.
Pusieron bloques
They had put blocks,
y era concreto.
and it was concrete.
No sé, los que vinieron a verlo con nosotros la primera vez,
I don't know those who remember who came to see it with us for the
yo
first
les
time.
decía, aquí va a haber salones,
I would tell them, here there's going to be
aquí va a haber
rooms,
una cocina,
here's going to be a
aquí
kitchen,
vamos a hacer un auditorio.
here we're going to do a temple,
Y
a
todos me
auditorium.
miraban como este que se fumó,
And everybody was like, what did this guy smoke? Like, what is he seeing?
pero se hizo.
But we did it.
Gracias a Dios
Thanks to God
y gracias a todos.
and thanks to you.
Pero esto es solo el comienzo.
And this is only the beginning.
Y nos ha servido como casa durante los últimos 3 años,
And for the 3 years, this has been our home.
pero creo que ya necesitamos una nueva casa.
But I think we need a new home now.
Tenemos un buen problema.
We have a good problem.
Dile al vecino, un buen problema.
Tell the person next to you, we have a good
¿Usted
problem.
sabe que hay problemas que son buenos?
Did you know that there's actually good
No todo
problems?
problema es malo,
Not every single problem is a bad one.
porque un problema
Because a problem,
generalmente
generally,
es el anticipo
is the anticipation
de una nueva temporada,
of a new season,
de una nueva
of a
oportunidad,
new
de
opportunity,
una nueva victoria.
of a new victory.
Diga, un buen problema.
So say, a good problem
No cabemos.
is that we don't fit.
Se nos creció la familia.
Our family grew.
¿Cómo está compuesta nuestra familia ahorita?
How is our family at this moment?
Somos alrededor de 150 personas.
We're around 150 people.
De ellos,
Of those,
hay 9 bebés de 0 a 3.
there are 9 babies from 0 to 3 years old.
Y vienen más.
And there's more coming.
¿Quién se apunta? Who wants more?
Who wants more kids?
I'll pray for you. Viene 9.
There are 9 babies.
Tenemos 6 niños de 3 a 5
We
años.
have 6 kids from 3 to 5.
Tenemos 20 niños entre los 5 y 12
We have
años.
20 children from 5 to 12 years old.
Tenemos alrededor de 20 jóvenes en nuestro grupo de jóvenes, de
We have,
12 a 18.
we have around 20 youth from 12 to 18.
Y tenemos alrededor de 30 jóvenes adultos.
And we have around 30 young adults from 18 to 34.
Entonces, como ve, ha crecido, sobre todo en esa parte joven.
So as you can see, especially with the youth, we have grown a lot.
Y el resto somos adultos ya,
And the rest of you are adults now.
y con la edad promedio de 40 años.
With an average age of 40 years old.
Somos una comunidad joven,
We're a young community.
una comunidad de familias
We're a community of
y
families.
una comunidad creciendo.
And we're a community that is
Y si no
growing.
es por evangelismo,
And it's not by evangelism,
por.
it's by,
Pero crece,
but we're growing.
crece porque crece. Pero no cabemos.
But we don't fit.
Nuestros niños están apretados.
Our kids are all squished up in there.
En el lobby, en la cafetería, eso parece una lata de atún.
In the lobby, we look like a can of tuna just all squished in there.
Aquí en ocasiones no cabemos.
Here, in some occasions, we don't fit.
Hay algunos de viaje, otros están preparando el barbecue.
Some are preparing the barbecue, some are on a trip, so
Pero
we're
si
not full
llegamos
yet.
todos, aquí no entramos.
But if all of us were here, we don't really fit.
Un buen problema.
So we have a good problem.
Así que deseamos construir nuestra casa.
So we desire to build our house.
Pregunta,
So question,
¿a quién le gusta la casa donde vive ahorita?
who likes the house where they live right now? Raise your hand.
Ah, iglesia, su casa.
Your home, where you live, your
¿Te
house.
gusta?
Do you like it?
¿Sí? ¿Ha sido buena?
Has it been good?
¿Cómoda?
Comfortable?
¿Quién fue a Stampede?
Who went to Stampede?
¿Sí vieron que estaban rifando una casa?
Did you see that they were raffling a house in Stampede?
¿Quién entró a verla? ¿Quién la chismoseó?
Who went inside? Who went inside to check out the house? Anybody?
No muchos, ¿qué pasó? No fueron a Stampede. ¿Pero a qué voy?
Well, the point I'm trying to make is,
Aunque la casa ha sido buena,
even though your house has been good,
aunque ha sido cómoda,
even though it's been
aunque
comfortable,
hay grandes recuerdos
although there's been good memories,
y aunque estamos agradecidos,
and even though we're thankful,
¿a quién le gustaría una casa mejor?
who would like a better house?
Más grande,
Something
más
bigger,
bonita,
prettier.
¿cierto? Y para nuestra familia
And for our family,
necesitamos una casa
we need a new house.
más grande,
Bigger,
más cómoda,
more comfortable,
más bonita
prettier,
y para que siga creciendo la familia.
and so our family can continue growing.
Para que nuestros hijos puedan tener salones excelentes,
So our children can have excellent rooms,
para que amen estar aquí.
so that they could love to be here.
Mi hija llora cada vez que me la llevo.
My daughter cries every single time I take her from church.
La amenaza que me toca darle cuando se porta mal.
I-
The way I threaten her when she
okay,
misbehaves.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
You're not going to church.
No vas para la iglesia.
She goes,
Dame-
please,
Por
Daddy,
favor,
take me to church.
llame a la iglesia.
Qué lindo que nuestros hijos amen la casa de Dios.
Isn't it beautiful that our children would love the house of the Lord?
Que amen nuestra familia.
That they would love our
Que amen
family?
nuestra comunidad.
That they would love our community?
Queremos espacios para los jóvenes.
We want spaces for our youth.
Hay muchos jóvenes que no tienen para hacer después del colegio.
There's a lot of youth that don't have anything to do after church.
Se van a dar
I mean,
vueltas-
after the school, sorry.
Se van a dar vueltas por el mall.
They just go to the mall.
Y por ahí dicen que mente vacía, taller del diablo.
And there's a saying in Spanish that like an empty mind is like the devil's workshop.
Entonces queremos tener programas para jóvenes.
So we want to have programs for our youth.
Y muchísimas cosas que van a ver en esta nueva casa.
Many things that there's going to be in our new home.
Así que vamos a construir una casa nueva.
So as you can see, we're going to build a new home.
Go ahead, bud. Entonces juntos la podemos construir, un lugar donde nos podemos reunir, adorar, aprender, crecer como comunidad y sobre todo crecer en nuestra fe y relación con nuestro Padre Celestial.
So together, let's build a space where our community can come together to worship, learn, and grow in faith with our Heavenly Father.
Next, bud. Entonces, ¿qué vemos en nuestra nueva casa?
So what is our vision for our new
¿O
home?
cómo luce?
Or how does it look?
¿Quién aquí ha comprado casa alguna vez?
Who here has bought a home?
¿Quién de pronto no ha comprado pero ha ido a chismosear? ¿Cómo es?
Who here has not
cuando-
bought a home but has kind of looked at how to buy a home?
Sí, uno va y se antoja.
You know, you kind of get these cravings.
Esta me
You're
gusta.
like, I like this
Y me
one.
gusta esto.
Oh, and I like
esta.
this one.
Y si usted va a los show homes de las casas nuevas,
And if you go to show homes where they show the new houses,
sale uno enamorado.
you get in there and you fell in love.
Dice, tenemos que comprarla.
And you say, we have to buy this house.
Hay que visionar
You have to envision
lo que queremos.
what we want.
Entonces, ¿qué visionamos?
So what do we envision?
Queremos salones para que nos quepan 60 niños.
We want rooms that could fit up to 60 kids.
Bien, entonces queremos generar 3 salones de más o menos 25 niños cada uno para que estén cómodos.
So we want to build around 3 rooms where we can have around 25 kids in each so they're comfortable.
Bien, también queremos hacer un salón para las madres.
We want to make a room for the mothers.
The ones that breastfeed, las que amamantan. Hay varias embarazadas,
There are many women who are pregnant right now.
algunas con doble.
There's somebody that have 2.
¿Quién
twins.
sabe quién se apunte con 3? No, mentira.
So maybe there's going to be somebody who's going to have triplets. Who knows?
Pero necesitamos un espacio para ellas,
But we need a space for those
para que
mothers
estén cómodas, cambien sus hijos,
so that they could be comfortable. They could change their children
puedan
when
ver el
needed,
servicio
so
tranquilas,
they can see the service comfortably
sin estar incómoda de alimentar a su bebé.
without being uncomfortable about breastfeeding their children.
También
their
queremos
babies.
empezar un programa semanal para las mamás con hijos.
We also want to start a weekly program for mothers with their kids.
Algo que aprendimos en algún momento es ayudar y enseñarle a los niños pequeños, empezar a estimularlos desde que son bebés.
So something that we learned and that we want to start implementing is teaching kids from when they're young, teaching them from when they're children, so when they grow up.
Se les puede estimular el habla, la motricidad y muchísimas cosas. Puedes realmente enseñarle a tu hijo tremendas cosas desde que son chiquitos.
So you can mold a lot of things within them of teachings, and so when they grow up, they grow up with those principles.
Queremos empezar un club para mamás con bebés y para que ellas puedan reunirse y ayudarles en su desarrollo y crecimiento.
So we want to start a club for mothers with their children, so they can come and they can be molded with their children and learn.
También, ¿quién ha estado aquí y ha visto que los niños corren por aquí, pasan por
Who has
allá,
been here
se
that's
suben
seen
por
the
allá?
kids? They run here, they go there, they jump here.
Y uno que les dice, ¡no corran!
And what do you say? Don't run.
Son niños.
But they're kids.
Qué lindo tener un espacio para ellos,
How beautiful it would be for them to have their own space.
un parque para ellos,
A playground for them.
que no le tenga que decir, no corra,
That you don't have to tell them don't run,
sino pásela rico.
but tell them have fun.
Eso sí, no tumbe a nadie.
But obviously, don't knock everybody over.
¿Cierto? Necesitamos un espacio para ellos.
So of course we need a space for our kids.
Y queremos hacer programas de desarrollo para nuestros niños,
And we want to do programs
for their development, como la escuela dominical,
like a Sunday school,
hacer campamentos durante el verano para los niños,
to do camps during the summer,
during Christmas break.
durante la Navidad.
Entonces necesitamos espacios para hacer todo esto.
And so we need spaces to do all of these things.
Next. También jóvenes.
Also, our youth.
Algo que queremos empezar allí es clases de música,
Something that we want to start is a music school,
clases de multimedia.
music of production and multimedia.
En Toronto,
In Toronto,
en algún momento empezamos esto.
we started this actually in our church.
Hoy en día,
Today,
muchos de los jóvenes que estuvieron con nosotros,
all of the youth that were with us in that moment, the
not
kids,
all of them, some of them,
the majority of them, sorry,
trabajan haciendo producciones para Netflix.
they work doing production for Netflix.
Se trabajan en estudios de televisión.
They do TV shows.
Tuvimos 3 o 4 que se fueron cantantes, algunos con disco platino.
We have 3 or 4 of them that became platinum artists, singers,
Porque Dios tiene grandes propósitos,
because God has big purposes for
pero a
us.
veces no tenemos las herramientas y la oportunidad.
But sadly, we don't always have the tools or the opportunity to do
Y si
it.
la iglesia no las provee,
But if the church can supply those,
no las provee,
if the church doesn't supply
la
them,
gente la buscará afuera.
then people are going to look for it out in the world.
Queremos ser un lugar que es una plataforma para nuestra
We want to be a
juventud.
place that is a platform for our people to launch from there.
Creemos que de aquí saldrán los próximos MPs,
We believe that from here, our next MPs will be from
los
here.
MPPs,
The MPPs from here as well.
el primer ministro, quién sabe,
The
¿por qué
next
no?
prime minister, who knows, from here
¿Quién
in our
quiere
church.
grandes cosas para sus hijos?
Who wants great and big things for
¿Quién
their
cree que
children?
sus hijos pueden cambiar una
Who
generación?
believes that their children can change a generation?
Necesitamos espacios para
So we need
levantar a
spaces
jóvenes
to do that, to
con
raise
esa
youth
mentalidad.
with that mentality.
Queremos tener un espacio para deportes,
We want to have a space for sports,
canchas deportivas,
soccer courts and stuff like that.
y tener espacios y talleres para ayudarles a los jóvenes a definir su propósito.
And have spaces and workshops where youth could come and define their purpose. And who
Mire
they
que
are.
nosotros hablamos con los jóvenes
When we talk to the youth,
y uno de los mayores interrogantes que tienen
one of the biggest issues they have
es que no saben qué estudiar,
is that they don't know what to study.
no saben qué quieren ser,
They don't know who they want to be.
y ellos no tienen que convertirse en nadie.
And they don't need to become anybody.
Lo que uno tiene es que descubrir quién Dios lo creó para ser
What you need to do is they need to discover who God has
y
created them to
encaminarse en
be
eso.
and to walk in that.
Y queremos hacer un gran énfasis en ayudarle a la juventud a descubrirse.
So we want to make a big emphasis in helping the youth discover who they are.
No sé si se ha dado cuenta, pero en Calgary hay una pandemia
I don't know if you've noticed, but in Calgary there's a pandemic.
y no es el COVID,
And it's not COVID,
es las drogas.
it's the drugs.
Y cada vez hay más homeless
And every day there's more and more homeless.
y cada vez está más cerca a casa.
And every single day it's closer to our homes.
Hace pocos meses se llevó a uno de los nuestros
A few months ago it took one of our own.
y creo que eso nos deja como enseñanza
And I think that leaves us a teaching
que somos vulnerables
that we're vulnerable
y que no podemos ser indiferentes ante lo que está pasando
and
afuera.
that we can't be indifferent to what's going on
Tenemos
outside.
que amar
We need to love
y invertir en la juventud.
and invest in our youth.
No pasa por el downtown,
You go through downtown,
cierra la ventana,
you close the window,
pone candado,
you lock your car,
evita cierta calle,
and you kind of evade certain routes,
Huele maluco.
roads. It smells bad.
Pero Dios no los ve de esa manera.
But God doesn't see them that
Dios
way.
ama a la gente.
God loves people.
Y en este caso amamos los jóvenes,
And in this case, we love our youth.
indiferentemente de su circunstancia.
Doesn't matter what they're going through.
No importa su situación.
Doesn't matter their
Y
situation.
vamos a generar un espacio para rescatarlos,
And so we want to generate a space to save them
para que se apasionen,
so they could be
y
passionate
para que se conviertan en todo lo que Dios ha dicho que son.
and so they could become everything that God says that they are.
Hace 20 años,
20 years ago,
no menos. Hace 16 años,
around 16 years ago,
yo andaba en drogas,
I was in drugs.
yo andaba en alcohol,
I was in
yo
alcohol.
andaba perdido.
I was lost.
Y mucha gente no da un peso por mí.
And a lot of people didn't care for me.
Pero fui a una iglesia
But I went to a church
que tenía todo esto
that had all of this.
y me enamoré
And I fell in love.
de los medios de comunicación. De pronto no de Dios,
I can honestly say I didn't exactly fall in love with God,
pero había cámaras,
but there was
había
cameras,
sonido,
there was sound,
computadores,
there was computers
programas,
and programs,
jóvenes,
there was youth,
deportes.
sports.
Y ahí me empecé a discipular.
And it was through those things that I
Ahí
began to connect
conocí
myself
al
and be
Señor.
discipled. And through that, I met the Lord.
Ahí conocí a mi esposa.
That's where I even met my wife.
Ahí me formé como pastor.
That's where I became a pastor.
Ahí empecé a ser misionero.
And that's where I became a missionary.
Y con muchas de esas personas
And with a lot of those people,
es que hoy el día a través del mundo
is that today and around the world,
estamos llevando la palabra
we're taking the word.
y estamos siendo diferencia y luz.
And we're being a difference and being a light.
Necesitamos más lugares como esos.
And so we need more places like
Porque hay
this.
muchos jóvenes como yo lo fui en algún
Because
momento
there's a lot of youth, and just as I was at one point,
y necesitan una casa.
that need a home.
Next one. También para las familias.
And so also for families,
Tenemos discipulados
we want to create discipleship.
y talleres.
We want to create workshops.
¿Quién de aquí ha tomado discipulados y de los talleres
Who
que
here has
nosotros
done any
damos?
of our workshops, of our
¿A quién le ha
discipleships?
beneficiado en algo, le ha servido?
Who here has benefited from it?
Creo que nos han cambiado la
I
vida.
think for a lot of us it's changed our lives.
Vamos a tener talleres de parejas,
We're going to have workshops for couples,
talleres para padres,
parenting workshops,
de sanidad física y espiritual,
health workshops, physically and spiritually.
talleres de finanzas,
We're going to have financial
cómo
workshops,
sanar las finanzas.
how to heal our finances.
Saben, la iglesia generalmente te enseñan qué hacer con el 10%.
You know, generally the church teaches you what to do with 10% of your finances.
Diezmelo.
Tithe it.
Y el 90,
And the 90,
un desastre.
a disaster.
Si quiere prosperar,
If you want to truly
no
prosper,
solo hay que diezmar,
you don't only have to tithe,
hay que administrar su 90.
you need to be able to administer the 90
Y
other
hay que
percent
entender
very
las
well.
finanzas según Dios.
And you need to understand what God says about
Y
finances.
muchos que hemos tomado esos talleres de finanzas,
And a lot of us who have taken those financial workshops,
me incluyo,
and I include myself,
hoy podemos decir que la vida es otra
we can truly say that our life is
y que
different.
Dios nos ha bendecido en gran
And
manera.
that God has blessed us in a great way.
Entonces esto es una herramienta, talleres para salir de deudas
We're also going to have workshops of how to eliminate debt.
y enseñanzas y herramientas para que usted pueda salir de la maldición y la esclavitud de la deuda.
And so to teach, and we're going to give you tips and tools of how to come out of the curse that is being in debt.
También cómo hacer una planeación para su vida.
Also how to do, a planning for your life.
Talleres de inversión para que aprenda que realmente si quiere hacer dinero en la vida no es ahorrando, es invirtiendo.
And also we're going to have investment workshops to really understand that if you want to do good in life, it's not just about saving, but it's also about investing.
Y a veces no enseñamos esto.
And many times we don't teach these
Pero la
things.
escritura nos dice que Dios quiere que seamos prósperos,
But the scripture tells us that God wants us to be
que seamos
prosperous.
cabeza y no cola,
That He wants us to be the head, not
que
the tail.
prestaremos, no pediremos
That
prestado,
we would lend, not that we would
que
borrow.
seremos bendición.
That we would be a blessing.
Queremos seguir empoderando nuestra comunidad para ser una comunidad fuerte, pujante y económicamente próspera.
So we want to keep empowering our community to be a community that perseveres strong and that is a prosperous community.
Queremos empezar talleres acerca de compras de vivienda.
And so we also want to do workshops in regards to having our own homes, about home ownership.
¿Quién le gustaría comprar su casa?
Who would like to have their own house here and
Creo que
buy their
todos,
house? I think everybody.
¿cierto? De salud, de alimentación.
About health and about
Nutrition. Entonces, necesitamos espacios.
So as you can see, we need space.
Todo esto es lo que viene y lo que queremos empezar a hacer.
This is all what is coming and what we want to do.
Se necesitan dos cosas,
So we need two things.
el espacio
We need the space
y la gente.
and we need the people.
¿Quién está por ahí?
Who's here? Wants to be part
A
of
veces
this.
uno dice, Señor, envíame a mí, yo iré.
And so some people are like, God, send me and I'll go.
África.
Africa
¿Y el vecino?
and the neighbor. What about your neighbor?
¿Y el que no puede dormir porque las deudas se lo están tragando?
And what about the person that you know that they can't sleep because they're just so in debt?
¿El que se está separando de tu trabajo?
The person you know that's, being divorced and they're losing their job.
O de pronto con el otro que trabajas que tiene su hijo en drogas, en alcohol.
Or maybe the person you know that has their child in drugs or in alcohol.
Queremos ser una casa
We want to be a home
para nuestra comunidad.
for our
Y
community.
a través de nuestra comunidad,
And through our community,
sanar nuestra ciudad.
we want to heal our city.
Next button. Queremos tener un espacio para emprendedores
We want to have a place to learn about business development
y periódicamente hacer reuniones de networking.
and to,
Have networking meetings.
Yeah.
Bien, tener espacio para desarrollar ideas de negocios.
we want to have a place where we can develop business plans.
Queremos tener un espacio, una oficina que se va a dedicar a ayudarle a la gente a emprender y mejorar sus negocios.
And we want to have an office that is specifically used to teach people about marketing and strategies.
Tener como un mentor dedicado para que le ayude a las personas y ciertos programas para que usted empiece a avanzar en su negocio.
So to have a dedicated mentor that can teach you all these tools that you need so you can move forward in your
Talleres de
business.
mercadeo y estrategias.
Workshops in regards to entrepreneurship.
Y lo tremendo de esto
The good thing about this
es que no solamente es para la gente de nuestra iglesia,
is that it's not only for the people in our church,
sino que a través de esto podemos alcanzar muchas personas en nuestra comunidad.
but through these things we can reach a lot of people in our community.
Hay amigos que de pronto usted no invitaría a un servicio de domingo,
There's probably friends that you know that you wouldn't invite them to a Sunday service,
pero sí los invitaría a un seminario de negocios
but you would probably invite them to a business workshop
o a un seminario de finanzas
or to a workshop on finances
o algo de matrimonios.
or something based on
Así que estos son
marriages.
como redes de pesca,
So these are kind of like fishing nets that we throw.
¿cierto? Y maneras en que podemos empezar a manifestar la vida de Dios
And there are different ways that we can manifest the life of God
y la bendición de Dios
and the blessing of
a
God
muchas personas
to many people
para que lo conozcan como lo hemos conocido.
so that they can know him the way we've known him.
Mire que Jesús primero bendecía
So if you look at it, Jesus first blessed,
y después le decía, sígueme y no peques más.
and then he would tell them, "Follow me and don't sin anymore."
Pero él primero mostraba
But
quién
what-
era y lo que portaba.
He showed who he was and what he had.
Así que como iglesia queremos bendecir primero,
So as a church, we want to bless first.
queremos dar
We
primero,
want to give first.
queremos dar un recurso
We
primero
want to give resources first.
y creemos que esa semilla el Señor la hará prosperar
And so we believe that seed God will prosper
en
that,
almas para su reino.
in souls for his kingdom.
Next button. ¿Qué necesitamos para todo esto?
So what do we need to do all of this?
Necesitamos crear un espacio que sirva como eje central para nuestra comunidad, donde podemos reunirnos, celebrar, aprender, crecer, soñar y construir juntos. Entonces queremos una bodega de más de 5,000 pies, donde podamos hacer la cancha deportiva, espacios juveniles, aulas, salones para los niños, tener un espacio de café y un espacio social, ¿cierto? Para reunirnos, salón de juntas y un auditorio para mínimo 250 personas.
So what do we need and what do we want? We want to create a space that serves as the central hub for our community, where we can meet, celebrate, learn, grow, dream, and build together. So what is it that we desire? We desire a warehouse that has around 5,000 feet, a sports court and youth spaces, classrooms and playground for children, a cafe and a social space, meeting rooms, and minimum an auditorium that could fit around 250 people.
Para que se haga una idea, este local tiene 2,300 pies.
So you can have an idea of it. This place has a square footage of 3,200
2,300.
feet.
Estamos buscando algo de entre 5,000 y 7,000 pies.
So now we're looking for something that's around from 5,000 to 7,000 feet.
O sea, tiene que ser mínimo el doble y Dios mediante casi el triple.
So minimum the double of what this place is, or even the triple.
Entonces estamos buscando esto para poder llevar a cabo todo aquello que el Señor nos ha
So we're
colocado.
looking for this to be able to do everything that God has told us to do.
Aquí simplemente, pues de pronto algunas ideas, ¿cierto? No exactamente va a ser así, pero para que vea, queremos crear un espacios abiertos, amplios, moderno, bonito.
So this isn't exactly what we're trying to do, but this is so you can get an idea of what is it that we want. Big spaces where our kids can be, and so a lot of people could fit and come.
Especially beautiful. Usted se merece una casa bonita, ¿sí o no?
You deserve a beautiful home, right?
¿A quién le gusta vivir en una casa fea?
Who would like to live in an ugly home?
¿Quién le gustaría que la puerta de su casa fuera en un back alley detrás de los edificios?
Who would like for their home to be the door of their home to be in a back alley where some buildings are?
No aguanta, ¿cierto?
It's not
Por
doesn't
donde
really look
botan
good.
la basura del edificio.
Or if you didn't know, the trash is right next to us. So
Si
who
me
would like that
tocó
for
para
their home?
empezar, si toca para arrancar,
So if that's what we need to start,
pues uno arranca.
then you start from there.
Pero no se puede quedar así.
But you don't want to stay like
Quiere
that.
una buena casa.
You want a beautiful
Y
home,
creo
a
que
nice
como
home.
comunidad nos merecemos una buena casa.
And so I believe as a
Amen.
community we deserve a nice home.
Okay, entonces, ¿cuánto nos cuesta este sueño?
So how much does it cost?
Requerimos un mínimo de $110,000
We need around $110,000
para poder hacer esto realidad.
to make this a reality.
¿Cómo se va el dinero, más o menos?
So how is the money going to work?
Un local de 8,000 pies cuadrados.
A place that has around 18,000 square feet.
Yeah, you crazy.
8,000 square feet, sorry.
Entre 5,000 y 8.
For between
5 and 8.
5 and
Yeah, sorry, 5 and 7. Confuse me, Sebas. Come on. Un aplauso a Sebas. Pretty good. Pero algo que tiene entre 5 y 7 mil pies
So something that is between 5,000 and 7,000 feet,
está alrededor de $7,500 a $8,000 mensuales.
it's around $7,500 to $8,000 a month.
Y para firmar contrato
And to sign the contract,
necesitamos dar primero, último y depósito.
we need to give the first and the last deposit.
First, last and deposit.
Oh,
O sea, 3.
so three.
Estamos hablando
Payments.
cerca de $24,000 solo para enganchar un lugar.
So we're talking just to have the place, $24,000 upfront.
Bien, necesitamos alrededor de $10,000 para tramitar los permisos con la ciudad y los planos arquitectónicos y todo lo demás.
We need around $10,000 to get the permits from the city and like the architectural designs that we need from the city.
Bien, la mayor modificación que hay que hacerle al local, y no la podemos hacer nosotros, va a ser los sistemas de aires y de incendios.
And so the biggest thing that we have that we can't do ourselves is the air and fire suppression.
Así que tenemos
Systems.
alrededor de $24,000 estimados para hacer eso.
And to get that installed and set up is around $24,000.
Tenemos más o menos $30,000 para la construcción.
We have we need around $30,000 for construction.
Ahora, eso es material.
Now that's material.
Entonces usted dice, pastor, ¿quién lo va a hacer?
So then you're asking, Pastor, who's going to do that?
Hágase así,
Go like this.
afúndele al vecino.
Construction workers.
Con estas manos
With these hands,
lo vamos a construir.
we're going to build it.
Cuando empezamos aquí,
When we started here,
todo el mundo decía, ¿y cómo?
everybody was like, how?
Y aquí está.
And here you are.
Y vamos a hacer algo mucho mejor.
And so now we're going to do something even better.
Bien, entonces 30 si lo hacemos nosotros.
So 30,000 if we do it ourselves.
Vamos a invertir alrededor de $12,000 en equipos.
We want to invest around $12,000 in new equipment.
Que todos los salones tengan sus pantallas, su sistema de sonido.
That every single room has their own, their TVs, their sound system,
Una pantalla excelente para la tarima.
a nice screen for our stage,
Buena iluminación.
good lighting.
Aquí no se bajan las luces. O está oscuro, o sea, o no se ve o se ve un poquito.
Here, the lighting, you can't really dim it. You either see or you don't see.
Hay que mejorarla un poquito.
So we gotta make that a bit
Hay
better.
gente que me dice, pastor, yo entré y pensé que era una discoteca.
So some people tell me, Pastor, I entered and I thought this was a club.
Es que las luces son caras.
It's that lights are expensive.
Para que se haga una idea, una luz robótica empieza en $2,500.
So you can get an idea. One of those robotic automatic lights that you can like send it codes and stuff, they cost around starting $2,000.
$2,500.
$2,500?
Necesitamos mínimo 2.
We need at least two. No,
Así que, equipos.
we need more than that, but we need equipment.
Y alrededor de $10,000 para muebles y equipar los salones que vamos a
And
construir.
so for new furniture for our classrooms and our temple and everything, we need around
Así que, ¿cuál
$10,000.
es la meta?
So what is the goal?
Alrededor de $110,000.
Around $110,000.
Como mínimo,
Minimum,
no máximo.
not maximum.
Máximo lo que traiga.
Maximum, you can bring as much as you
Pero
want.
eso es lo que necesitamos para mudarnos.
But that's what we need at least to move.
Hace 5 años,
About 5 years ago,
o no, 4 años,
or 4 years ago,
que anunciamos que íbamos a recoger 30.
that we announced that we were gonna collect 30,000.
Muchos pensábamos que estábamos locos.
A lot of people thought, you're crazy.
Y al fin nos costó 30, nos costó 45.
And at the end, it wasn't even 30,000. It came out to 45,000.
Échele la culpa a esa cosa grande ahí.
Blame that big thing up there.
Solo esa máquina nos costó casi $15,000.
Just that thing up there cost us around
Y
$15,000.
no la hemos usado, ¿eh?
And we haven't used it.
Pero nos la pidieron.
But they asked us for it.
Pensamos que no se podía.
We thought we couldn't.
Era la mitad de este proyecto.
It's half of what this project is.
Estábamos quebrados,
We were broke.
casi sin trabajo,
We didn't have jobs.
en Wilfrido muchos, en welfare,
Oh,
unemployment.
I'm learning a lot of words here in Spanish
know?
that I didn't even know.
Éramos menos
Oh, we were fewer,
y se hizo.
but we did it.
Y pudimos.
And we were able to
Y
do
lo
it.
hemos disfrutado.
And we've enjoyed it.
Yo creo que esta meta
So I think that this goal,
y pensar en el doble,
to think about, the double,
somos el doble de gente,
we're the double amount of people.
el doble de ricos y no más.
We're double the rich people now.
Ya tenemos trabajos, por lo menos hay trabajo,
We have work now,
empresas.
businesses.
Dios nos ha bendecido
God has blessed us,
y no lo merecemos.
and we deserve it.
Así que creo que es muy fácil
So I think it's easy,
y muy posible
and it's very
que
possible
podamos pensar en hacer esto
to think that we could do this.
en los próximos 4 meses.
And around the next 4 months is the goal.
Bien, entonces, ¿qué estrategia tenemos para lograr esta meta?
So what is the strategy that we have to reach this goal?
¿Está conmigo hasta ahora?
Are you with me till
¿Está
now?
aburrido?
Understand them? You like it?
¿Interesado?
Are you bored? Are you interested?
Bien, ¿vamos a hacerlo? Amén. Bien, estrategia.
So strategy.
Entonces, hay comidas
So there's lunches, there's food,
Eventos especiales,
specific events.
hay eventos de pareja,
There's going to be couples events.
hay una rifa que vamos a hacer,
There's a raffle that's going to be done.
ropa que vamos a vender
There's going to be clothing that we're going to sell.
y sobre todo una campaña de sobres.
And we have a campaign of envelopes, as you've seen outside.
Y ahorita les voy a explicar cada una de ellas.
And
La
so
primera,
in a bit, we're going to explain every single one.
entonces, lo primero, comida.
So the first thing, food.
Tenemos una meta de recoger $5,000
We have a goal of raising $5,000
almorzando juntos.
eating together.
¿Cómo funciona esto?
How does this work?
Durante las próximas 16 semanas,
During the next 16 weeks,
la idea es que cada una familia se apersone por semana del lunch de esa semana.
the idea is that every a family per week is going to be responsible of the lunch for that week.
Hacer un almuerzo para 30, 40 personas.
To make a lunch for around 40 to 30 people.
30 to 40 people, yeah. Y la idea es con esto recoger un mínimo de $400
And the idea with this is to raise a minimum of $400 a week
por semana.
per week.
Entonces, dos maneras en que puede involucrarse.
So 2 ways you can be involved.
La primera,
The first,
necesitamos que cocine una de las 16 semanas.
we need you to cook at least one of the 16 weeks.
Idealmente que siembre el almuerzo de esa semana.
Ideally, it would be that you would give the food of that week,
O sea, que usted la pague.
that you would pay for it.
Pero si le queda difícil por
But if
X o Y razón,
But if it's difficult to pay for the food yourself,
podemos darle el dinero para comprar el material,
we can give you some money to buy the food.
¿cierto? Lo cocina
You cook it,
y el tarea número 2,
and so number 2,
almorzamos juntos.
is to eat together.
¿Sabe? Usted va y se gasta los $10 en el Tim Hortons.
You know, you spend the same $10 going to eat at Tim Hortons.
Traiga 12
Bring 12,
y aquí le dan almuercito, sopa y seco.
and here you get a lunch, soup, and drinks.
Bien, entonces, ¿dónde vamos a almorzar?
So where are you going to eat?
Como familia,
As a family.
durante las próximas 16 semanas.
During the next 16 weeks.
Afuera
Outside,
va a haber un tablero
there's going to be a board,
y tiene las 16 semanas.
and it has the 16 weeks.
Están las fechas.
The dates are there.
Solo escoja una,
Just choose one,
pone su nombre.
write your name on it.
Si sabe que va a cocinar,
If you know what you're going to cook,
lo pone ahí para que empecemos a hacer publicidad.
write what you're going to cook if you know what you're going to cook so we can make an announcement about it.
Y si no sabe,
And if you don't know,
durante las próximas semanas nos puede avisar y así lo vamos actualizando.
during the next week you can let us know so we can begin updating that
Pero vamos a
information.
almorzar como familia
So we're going to eat as a family,
y esto nos va a generar $5,000 juntos.
and this is going to generate $5,000.
Bien, la próxima estrategia.
So the next strategy,
Queremos hacer 5 eventos especiales.
we want to do 5 special events.
Un evento al mes.
One event a month.
¿Qué tipo de eventos?
What kind of event?
Podemos hacer un car wash, por ejemplo,
We can do, for example, a car wash,
y que la gente que pase,
and that people that come around,
le lavamos el
we
carro,
wash their car.
se les da limonada, hot dogcito,
You know, we give them some hot dogs, some lemonade,
y la meta es reunir $1,000 por evento.
and the goal is to raise minimum of $1,000 per event.
¿Cierto? Podemos hacer un bingo familiar y traer
We
amigos.
can do a family bingo. You can invite your friends.
Podemos hacer movie
We
nights.
can do movie nights.
Estos eventos aún no los hemos cuadrado,
These events we haven't established, or we don't have dates for them
pero el
yet.
que tenga ideas para estos eventos,
But if any of you have ideas for these events,
queremos organizar un pequeño comité
we want to organize a small committee
y que se encarguen de organizar los próximos 5 eventos.
that is responsible of organizing the next 5
Y
events.
la idea es que esto no solamente salga de nosotros,
So the idea is that this doesn't only come from us,
sino que invitemos amigos, gente de afuera, del trabajo,
but
etcétera.
that we invite friends, friends from work, from wherever.
Pero un evento al mes
But one event a month,
y con esto queremos generar otros $5,000 como mínimo.
and with this minimum, we want to generate another $5,000.
Otra cosa que vamos a hacer,
Another thing we're going to do,
vamos a hacer una rifa al Caribe.
we're going to do a raffle to go to the Caribbean.
Usted escoge Dominicana, Punta Cana, ¿qué le
You
gusta?
choose Dominican.
¿Quién se quiere ir de
Cuba.
paseo?
Who wants to go on a trip?
Ay, aleluya.
Everybody's excited now, huh?
Que lo recibo, pastor.
Say, I receive it for myself.
Bien, vamos a estar rifando
So we're going to be raffling
un viaje con todos los gastos pagos
a trip with all expenses paid
a un hotel 5 estrellas
to a 5-star hotel
en el Caribe.
in the Caribbean.
Esto ya estamos empezando a hacer la boletería y a organizar toda esa parte de logística.
We're starting to organize all the logistics of it.
Así que en las próximas semanas lo vamos a estar anunciando.
So in the next coming weeks, we're going to announce this.
Queremos que apoye de dos maneras.
We want you to participate in 2 ways.
Una, puede comprar boletos para la rifa, obviamente.
One, you can obviously buy tickets for the raffle.
Y secundariamente, véndale a sus amigos.
2, sell some to your friends.
Y la gente dice, ay, pero eso es un juego al azar. Some people I think, oh, it's gambling. Doesn't the Bible prohibit it? It's not gambling, it's a fundraiser. Si no quiere el tiquete, déjemelo a mí.
If you don't want the ticket, buy it and
peque.
give it to me. Don't sin.
Ofrende los 60.
Just donate those $60.
Pero vamos a hacer 150 boletos
So what are we going to do? We're going to make 150
a
tickets
$60.
to $60 each.
Da un poquito más de $8,000.
That gives us around
El
$8,000.
viaje cuesta alrededor de 3,000 y piquito.
The trip is around $3,000.
Y la meta es que nos deje $5,000 para nuestro protemplo.
So the goal is that it could leave us around $5,000 for our pro temple.
Así que necesitamos que compre boleto
So we need you to buy a ticket
y que ofrezca boletos
and that you would also give out tickets and sell
y que ore
and that you would pray more than anything.
para irse para el Caribe.
So you can go to the Caribbean.
No, por el local.
No, I'm kidding. For the place.
También vamos a estar trayendo mercancía de nuestra iglesia.
We're also going to bring merch, NA merch, our church.
Bien, entonces va a haber camisetas de nuestra iglesia,
There's going to be shirts from our church,
buzos,
sweaters,
long sleeves, sacos
Manga
manga
larga.
larga, vamos a tener gorritos,
we're going to have some hats,
pocillos.
maybe some
Se le
cups. We'll
tiene.
see. You know what?
Eso
Make
por
the
ahí se
cups
le
if you
tiene.
want.
Pero vamos a tener muchas mercancía y cosas de nuestra
We're
iglesia.
going to have basically a lot of merch from our church that we've made, our designs.
En vez de darle la plata a Sara
Instead of giving the money to Zara
o H&M,
or H&M,
que ese ya es el más rico del mundo,
that they're already the richest companies ever,
¿cierto? Vamos a representar nuestra iglesia,
we're going to represent our church,
representar nuestra comunidad.
represent our
Y
community.
esto va a ser una manera en que podemos generar también un ingreso para esta campaña.
And so this is going to be another way we can generate income for our campaign.
Next. Otra cosa que estamos haciendo,
Another thing we're doing,
estamos lanzando una campaña en línea,
we're also launching an online campaign,
como un GoFundMe.
GoFundMe.
Y lo que se hace a través de esto, vamos a estar compartiendo testimonios.
So the way that this is going to work is we're going to be sharing testimonies.
Entonces, los que quieran participar de esto,
So those that want to be part of this,
vamos a grabar testimonios de familias, de personas de aquí de la iglesia,
we're going to film videos of testimonies from families and people in this church
de lo que Dios ha hecho en tu vida
of what God has done in your life
a través de la iglesia
through this church
y a través de la comunidad.
and through the community.
Y vamos a estar pidiendo donaciones en línea.
And so we're going to be asking for donations online.
Entonces vamos a estar haciendo una campaña de videos.
So we're going to be doing a campaign of videos.
Necesitamos actores,
We need actors.
necesitamos tu historia
We need your story
para poder compartirla con el mundo.
to be able to share with the world.
Eso es número uno. Número dos, hay que compartir eso con nuestros amigos, familiares, personas.
So that's number one. Number two, we need to share it with our friends, with our partners, with our family,
Cierto, gente del trabajo.
people from work.
Y vamos a creer que van a venir donaciones también de afuera
And from that, we believe that we're going to have donations from people outside
y que esto va a ayudar a construir nuestra casa.
and that it's going to help us build our home.
Entonces esto cuando esté en social media, compártalos por Facebook, por Instagram, YouTube, todo, pero comparta los links, comparta los videos.
So please, when we start doing this campaign, we ask you to share the links on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, anything you have.
Mándeselo a sus amigos
Send it to your friends.
y esperamos a través de esto recaudar alrededor de unos $10,000.
And we hope that with this campaign or this strategy to raise at least $10,000.
Next button. Bien. También vamos a estar buscando patrocinios de corporaciones.
So also we're going to be looking for corporate sponsors.
Y esto ya queda en cada uno de ustedes.
Now this task is left on each and every one of you.
Vamos a tener cartas
We're going to have cards.
y un press kit, cards, letters,
Oh, letters, sorry.
¿cierto? Explicando el proyecto y qué es lo que queremos hacer y lo que cuesta.
And the letter is basically going to explain everything that we're showing you, what we want to do, what's the goal, and how much it is.
Sí, la idea es ir a lugares como por ejemplo los lumber yards o Home Depot o la empresa en la que tú trabajas y buscar empresas que quieran participar de este proyecto.
So the idea is to take that and go to your own workplace, to go to a Home Depot, to lumber yards or wherever, and show them this to see if they'd be interested in sponsoring us.
Sí, nuestra experiencia con hacer esto,
Our experience with doing this,
generalmente no nos han dado dinero,
they usually don't give us money,
pero nos dan descuentos.
but they give us discounts.
Y entonces de repente así nos dan 30% de descuento en el material.
And so maybe there's been moments where they're giving us a 30% discount in material,
O nos regalan la pintura,
or they give us the paint.
¿cierto? O nos dejan ciertas cosas a un mucho mejor precio.
They leave us certain things on a much better price.
Pues la idea es que si usted conoce o se le ocurre algún lugar donde podamos pedir una donación,
So if you know of a place that we can go where we can ask for a donation,
le vamos a estar dando unas cartas y un kit que usted puede llevar y presentar para buscar apoyo de nuestra comunidad.
we're going to be giving you some letters and kind of a kit that you could give to them so they could hopefully support our community.
Bien, y de esta manera tratar de, ¿cierto?, reducir el gasto
And so in this way, the idea is to also reduce the cost
y de esa manera poder construir rápido lo que
and
vamos a
so we can
construir.
build quickly what it is that we want to build.
Vamos a tener en nuestra iglesia nueva
And so what we're going to have in our new church,
va a haber un tablero donde va a estar un muro de fundadores,
there's going to be a board where we show kind of our
Founders Wall,
founders wall.
pero también vamos a tener un muro para los partnerships con las empresas de nuestra comunidad que nos van a apoyar
We're also going to have a board that shows us the partnerships with the companies that are supporting us,
y en nuestra página web.
and also on our
Así que
website.
también publicidad para ellos.
So also publicity for them.
¿Ok? Y lo último,
And the last thing,
y lo más importante,
and the most important,
hágale hacia su vecina. Lo
go
más
like,
importante,
go like this, the most important,
y es donde más te necesito,
where we most need you,
hemos hecho una campaña con 50 sobres.
is we've done a campaign with 50 envelopes.
Somos alrededor de 150 personas.
We have around 150 people.
Calculamos que somos alrededor de unas 50 familias.
We calculate that we're around a total of 50 families.
Y lo que hicimos es generamos sobres de diferentes montos.
And so what we did is we generated envelopes with different amounts.
Empiezan desde $300
It starts from $300
hasta
to
$5,000.
$5,000.
Bien, lo que quiero que hagas
What I want you to do
es que ores,
is that you pray,
le preguntes al Señor
that you would ask the Lord,
y que hagamos algo sacrificial.
and that we would do something sacrificial.
Esta pared la puede ver allí afuera enfrente.
This wall, you can see it outside here in our lobby.
Bien, y lo que quiero que hagamos
And so what I want you to do
es que cada familia
is that each family
haga un compromiso
would make a commitment
con Dios y con la iglesia
with God and with the church
de hacer una siembra significativa,
to do a significant donation.
¿cierto? Una siembra sacrificial.
Realistically, a sacrificial donation.
Esto es un compromiso para los próximos 4 meses.
This is a commitment for the next 4 months.
4 meses se cumplen mediados de noviembre, como el 16 de noviembre.
The 4 months are done around the mid of November, beginning of
Entonces,
December.
la idea es que el que haga este compromiso,
So the idea is those who choose to do this commitment,
que empiecen a entregar,
that you would start giving,
¿cierto? Y de aquí a esa fecha de noviembre hayan entregado todo el monto.
and so during the time the due date is done, which is around mid-November, beginning of December, you would have this amount.
Bien, entonces aquí, como le dije, hay sobres que empiezan básicamente desde 300 hasta 5,000.
So as you can see, I said that the envelopes start from an amount of 300 to 5,000.
¿Cierto? Los de aquí abajo, los verdecitos,
The green ones,
son sobre todo para los niños
they're more than anything, they're for the
y
kids
para los
and
jóvenes.
for the youth.
Así que si tienes 5 hijos,
So if you have 5 kids,
no vaya a coger el chiquitín,
don't get the small one.
no vaya el de 300.
Don't get the one that's 300.
Déselo a los niños,
Give it to the little kids,
porque no, un niño no va a coger uno de 5,000.
because a kid's not going to really do
Y
one
mire
for
que los niños
5,000.
quieren hacer parte de esto.
And if you realize the kids also want to be a part of
Mire
this.
que los niños ya me están, ay, yo puedo coger uno, yo quiero trabajar, yo lavo la loza, yo le lavo el carro a mi papá, yo quiero aportar para construir nuestra nueva casa.
You know, the kids have already been telling me, is there any way I can be part of this? You know, I'll wash my dad's car, or I'll wash the dishes. What can I do to be part of this?
Y muchos de nuestro grupo de jóvenes están empezando a trabajar en McDonald's, Tim Hortons, en drive-thrus, y ellos también quieren apoyar esta
And a lot
campaña.
of our youth are now working in various jobs, and they also want to be a part of this.
Así que hay 50 sobres.
So there are 50 envelopes.
Si cada uno de nosotros hace un compromiso,
If every single one of us makes a commitment,
esos son $80,000.
that's $80,000.
Como le dije, la meta es reunir esto en los próximos 4 meses
Like I said, the goal is to raise this amount in the next 4 months.
y estarnos mudando, ya sea para fin de año o comienzos por tarde del próximo año.
And the idea will be that we will be moving by the end of the year or the beginning of next year.
Entonces, de nuevo, estos sobres, ¿cómo funciona?
So again, how do these envelopes work?
Adentro tienen un papelito blanco.
Inside of them, they have a white piece of paper.
Simplemente usted lo toma y pone su nombre,
Simply, you take the paper and you write your name on it,
¿cierto? Y lo puede entregar en un sobre de diezmos y ofrendas.
and you can give it to us in one of our tithes and offering envelopes that we have there in the
O
back,
se lo puede dar a las chicas que manejan el datáfono.
or you can give it to the ladies that are in charge of
The payments, the digital payments.
Yeah.
Y de esa manera se cierra ese sobre.
And so in that way, that envelope is closed.
Ya sabemos que alguien lo tomó.
We already know that somebody took it,
Bien, y bueno, y sabemos quién fue y ya, ya pues se maneja por privado, ¿cierto?
and so obviously privately we know who took it, and we can
Pero
able to
vamos viendo
communicate with
cuántos
them.
compromisos tenemos.
And so that way we can see how many people are committed to
Entonces, de nuevo,
doing
un
this.
compromiso a 4 meses.
So again, it's a commitment for 4 months,
Y no es que en 4 meses va a ir al totazo.
and it's not 4 months that you just go and give everything.
Pero si puede dar cada semana algo, la manera que lo pueda ir dando, por favor,
But
hágalo.
if every week you prefer to give a bit every single week, that's fine as well.
Y algo que quiero aclarar en cuanto a esto,
And so something I want to clarify in regards
es
to
que
this
debe ser separado a nuestros diezmos y ofrendas.
is that it would be something separate from our tithes and offerings.
¿Y por qué digo esto?
And so now, why do I want to clarify this?
Porque a veces cuando se pide una ofrenda especial,
Because sometimes when we ask for a special
la
offering,
gente da la ofrenda,
people give the offering,
pero no diezma o da su diezmo regular.
but so they give the special offering, but they don't give their Their regular offering and tithes.
Para que se haga una idea, la operación de lo que hacemos mes a mes nos cuesta $11,000.
So to get an idea, the operation so this place can function is around $11,000 a month.
¿Cierto? Entonces, si dejamos de dar esos 11 y los ponemos aquí, pues no tenemos con qué pagar la luz el otro mes.
So if you stop giving your tithes and offerings and you only give this offering, then we won't have anything to pay for the next
Nos
month.
va a tocar sacar de la plata para el otro templo para costear este.
We would have to start taking money from the pro temple to be able to keep this place running and have our lights and our water.
Pero de nuevo es un sacrificio, claro que lo es.
So I want to clarify again, of course this is a sacrifice.
Y estoy agradecido por los que ya han hecho sacrificios,
And I'm thankful for those that have already made the
y por lo que
sacrifice.
ya se ha logrado,
And for what has already been able to be achieved.
pero vamos para cosas más grandes.
But we're going for greater
Y
things.
sabe, y para mí,
And so, for me,
y algo que he aprendido,
and something that I've learned,
la paz no tiene precio,
peace doesn't have a price.
la sanidad no tiene precio,
Healing doesn't have a
mi
price.
matrimonio no tiene precio,
Your marriage doesn't have a price.
mis hijos no tienen
My
precio.
kids don't have a price.
Y he encontrado sanidad,
And I have found healing.
he encontrado libertad,
I have found
he
freedom.
encontrado sabiduría
I have found
en
wisdom
las comunidades que Dios me ha permitido permanecer.
in the communities that God has allowed me to be in.
Y he sido grandemente bendecido.
And I've been greatly blessed.
Y si es una manera en que yo le puedo agradecer a Dios,
And so if this is a way that I can show God my gratefulness,
si es una semilla que puedo sembrar para que otra familia se restaure,
if this is the seed that I can sow so another family could be restored,
para que el hijo de alguien más salga de una adicción,
so someone else's child can come out of an addiction,
para que el hijo de alguien tenga un lugar donde estar y donde aprender.
so someone else's child can go somewhere where they can learn and
Tú
be who
estás
they are.
sembrando semillas de reino.
You are sowing kingdom seeds.
Que a veces la gente dice, ay, pero eso la plata la cogen, eso no se la mandan a Dios. Claro que no se le manda a Dios.
Some people say, oh, they don't actually they grab that money and they give it to God. But they don't give it to God, sorry.
Si se la queda.
They keep the money.
Aquí no nos la quedamos.
Here we don't keep the money.
Tampoco se la damos a Dios.
Also, we don't give it to
Porque
God.
hasta el día no me ha dado la cuenta del banco de él.
Because to this day, God hasn't given me his
Pero la
bank account
invertimos
number.
en gente,
But we invested into
la
people.
invertimos en parejas,
We invested in
la
couples.
invertimos en
We
jóvenes,
invested in youth.
la invertimos en los
We
niños.
invested in the
Y
children.
aquí ha habido muchas vidas
And
cambiadas,
here there have been a lot of lives that have been
muchas
changed.
familias
A
restauradas.
lot of restored
Y somos
families.
un faro de luz.
And so we're a lamp, a light.
Y no solamente para Calgary,
And not only for Calgary,
sino tenemos la oportunidad de bendecir muchos lugares en el mundo.
but we have the opportunity to bless a lot of places in the
Y
world.
eso ha sido gracias a la generosidad y el amor de cada uno de
And that
ustedes.
has been due to the generosity and the love of every single
Pero
one of
Dios
you.
nos está retando a ir a un nuevo nivel,
But God is challenging us to go to a new
a
level,
una nueva dimensión.
to a new dimension.
Y queremos algo nuevo para nuestra familia, algo mejor.
And so we want something new for our family, something
Así que
better.
los animo a todos
So I really encourage all of you
a que participen de esta campaña.
that you would participate of this
Hay
campaign.
muchas maneras de ayudar.
There's a lot of ways to help.
Comiendo, la más fácil.
Eating is the easiest
¿Sí o
one.
no? Coma aquí,
Just eat here.
riquísimo.
It's very good.
Aquí hay una unción con la comida
Here there's an
impresionante.
anointing for people to make delicious
Si no, mire
food.
las barrigas de los participantes.
If you don't believe me, look at some of the bellies of the
Si
participants.
usted
and
ve
the
el
people we have
esposo
here.
así, usted dice, cocina buena esa señora.
If you see your husband's belly like this, you say his wife must cook good.
Bien, comamos aquí.
So let's just eat here.
Invitemos, inclusive amigos, a veces uno le dice, mire, aquí están vendiendo unos taquitos, le llevo, valen a 10, mande el transfer y usted va y se los deja en la casa.
Let's even invite people. Call your friends and say, hey, they're selling some tacos here. Do you want some? I can get some. Send me the transfer and I'll take it to you.
¿Cierto? Pero hagamos a otros partícipes.
So let's also make other people participate of what we're doing.
Participemos de los próximos eventos que van a venir.
Please participate of the next events that we're going to
En
be
vez de
having
irse a
during
un
these weeks.
parque o al festival latino o al no sé qué, donde va y se gasta más de lo que va a gastar.
So instead of always going, to the park or to the Latin festival or to this where you usually spend more,
Participemos de las actividades que vamos a estar haciendo como familia en los próximos meses.
we would ask you to be and come and participate in the events that we're going to have as a family these upcoming
Invitemos a
weeks.
nuestros amigos a
And invite your
participar,
friends to participate as well, please.
¿cierto? Haga parte de la rifa.
Be part of the raffle.
De pronto se va de viaje.
You never know, you'll probably go to the Caribbean.
O de
You'll go
pronto me
trip.
lo siembra a mí, no sé si,
Or
si
maybe
Dios
God
se lo
puts in your
pone.
heart to give me the trip,
Yo recibo.
I will receive the trip.
O un amigo suyo.
Or a friend.
Pero podemos hacerlos partícipes de la rifa.
But make them participants of the raffle.
Compartir en las redes,
Share on social media, please.
¿cierto? Llevar estas cartas en su empresa. Simplemente decirle a su jefe, supervisor, mira, yo participo en una comunidad, tenemos este proyecto, esto es lo que queremos hacer, nos pueden ayudar de alguna manera.
The letters we're going to give out the kids, tell the bosses where you work and ask them, hey, I have this community, we have this initiative. Is there any way that you could help us?
Usted se sorprendería cuánta gente está dispuesta a ayudar.
You would be surprised how many people are actually willing to help.
Pero sobre todo,
But more than anything,
hagamos un compromiso
let's make a commitment
de recoger el mayor monto
to raise the biggest amount
aquí como familia,
here as a family,
aquí en nuestra casa.
here in our church, in
Eso
our
es un
house.
sacrificio,
This is a sacrifice,
pero es una señal de agradecimiento.
but it's also a sign of gratefulness.
Voy a cerrar con esto.
I want to finish with this.
Quiero que vaya conmigo en la Biblia, segunda de Samuel 24.
I want you to go to 2 Samuel
24.
24.
Ya casi nos vamos al asado.
We're almost going to the barbecue. Be patient.
Segunda de Samuel, capítulo 24.
2 Samuel 24.
Y vaya conmigo al versículo 18.
And go with me to verse 18.
Bien. Dice, ahora esta es la historia de David, del rey David.
This is the story of King David.
Bien, entonces dice, un día o ese día, Gad fue a ver a David y le dijo, sube y edifica un altar al Señor en el campo de trillar de Aruna, el Jebuseo. Verse 18.
So that day Gad came to David and said to him, go up and build an altar to the Lord on the threshing floor of Aruna, the Jebusite.
So verse 19. Así que David subió para hacer lo que el Señor le había ordenado. Cuando Aruna vio al rey y a sus hombres acercándose, salió y se inclinó ante el rey con rostro en tierra.
So David went up to do what the Lord had commanded him. When Aruna saw the king and his men coming toward him, he came and bowed before the king with his face to the ground.
Versículo 21. ¿Por qué has venido, mi señor, mi rey? Le preguntó Aruna.
So verse 21 says, why have you come, my lord, the king?
David le
Aruna
contestó, vine a comprar tu campo para trillar y para edificar allí un altar al Señor.
David replied, I have come to buy your threshing floor and to build an altar to the Lord there,
Para que se detenga la plaga.
so that he will stop the plague.
Tómelo, mi señor el rey, y úselo aquí como usted quiera, le respondió Aruna a David.
Take it, my lord the king, and use it as you wish, Aruna said to David.
Aquí hay bueyes para la ofrenda quemada. Puede usarlos con los tablones de trillar y los yugos de los bueyes como leña para hacer un fuego sobre el altar. Le haré todo a usted, su majestad, y que el Señor, su Dios, acepte su sacrificio.
Here are oxen for the burnt offering, and you can use the threshing boards and ox yokes for wood to build a fire on the altar. I will give it all to you, your majesty, and may the Lord your God accept your sacrifice.
Entonces, ¿qué estaba pasando?
So what was happening?
Había una plaga en la tierra en ese momento.
There was a plague on the earth in that moment.
Y vino un profeta de Dios,
And a prophet from the Lord
o un
came,
hombre de Dios,
or a man of God,
y le instruyó a David algo.
and he gave David some
Le
instructions.
dijo, David, quiero que vayas a este lugar
He said, David, I want you to go to this
y
place,
quiero que allí construyas un altar.
and I want you there to make an altar.
Un altar es un lugar donde se hacían sacrificios.
An altar is a place where they would do sacrifices.
Otra palabra para altar y sacrificio es ofrenda.
Another word for altar sacrifice is offering.
Entonces, básicamente Dios le está diciendo, quiero que vayas a un lugar
So God was basically telling him, I want you to go to a place
y me construyas algo para mí,
and that you would build something for me,
algo que yo voy a utilizar,
something that I will use,
y eso te va a costar una ofrenda.
and that's going to cost you an offering.
Así que David se dirige a ese lugar
So David then goes to that place
y se decide hacer aquello que el Señor le había pedido.
and he decides to do what the Lord had told him to
Pero
do.
cuando llega a ese lugar,
But when he gets to this place,
se encuentra una sorpresa.
he's surprised.
El dueño del terreno
The owner of the land
sabe quién es.
knows who he is.
Dice, David,
And he says, David,
¿qué haces aquí?
what are you doing here?
No, vine a presentar una ofrenda.
No, I came to do an offering for
Y
the
tengo que
Lord.
construir un altar.
And I need to build an altar.
Así que te compro tu terreno.
So David says, I'll buy your land.
Le dice, no hace falta,
And the man says, don't worry about it.
te lo regalo.
I give it to you.
¿Y qué vas a hacer?
And what are you going to do with it?
Un altar.
I'm going to make an altar.
¿Y qué vas a quemar?
And what are you going to burn?
Bueyes.
Ox.
Le dice, te doy el terreno,
And he says, you know what? I'll give you the land.
te doy la madera para el altar.
I'll give you the wood for the altar.
Y es más, te encimo los bueyes para el altar.
And even I'll give you the ox for the altar. So
¿Cuánto te va a costar?
how much is it going to cost you?
Gratis.
It's going to be free.
No me pagues.
Don't pay me.
Yo te lo quiero dar.
I want to give you this.
¿Qué diría usted en ese momento?
What would you say in that
Yo
moment?
diría,
You
aleluya.
would say, hallelujah.
Gloria a Dios.
Glory to God.
¡Qué milagro!
What a miracle.
Dios es fiel.
God is faithful.
¿Sí o no?
Right?
Pues él se fue a hacer algo
Like, he went to go do something
y el Señor empezó a proveer.
and the Lord started to provide.
Diría uno.
You would say.
Pero aquí hay algo que quiero que aprenda,
But there's something that I want you to learn here.
que porque a mí marcó mi vida para siempre.
Because for me, it marked my life forever.
El rey le respondió.
The king replied to him.
Sabe, David es conocido como un hombre conforme al corazón de Dios.
You know, David in the Bible is known as a man after God's own heart.
¿Un hombre qué?
A man that is what? Conformed to God's own
Y
heart.
aquí usted se va a dar cuenta por qué.
And here you're going to see why.
David le dice, no.
David tells him no.
O sea, le dice, se lo pongo fácil.
Basically, he's getting everything easy, free.
Le dice, se lo doy gratis.
I'm going to give it to you.
Y David dice, no me sirve.
And David says, it doesn't work. That doesn't work.
Y nosotros hubiéramos dicho aleluya.
We probably would have said, yeah, I'll receive it.
Pero él dice, no.
But King David says, no.
Insisto en comprarlo.
I insist to buy this from you.
Porque no le presentaré al Señor un sacrificio
Because I wouldn't present the Lord a sacrifice
que a mí no me cueste.
that didn't cost me.
Sabes, cuando uno está agradecido,
You know, when you're grateful,
cuando uno ama,
when you love,
cuando uno tiene honra en su
when
corazón,
you have honor in your heart,
cuando uno quiere agradecer y exaltar,
when you want to exalt and be grateful,
tiene que costarte.
it has to cost you.
Yo no voy cuando mi esposa va a cumplir años,
You know, when it's my wife's birthday,
yo no me voy para el Dolarama.
I don't go to Dollarama.
Yo no voy a buscar la oferta, la rebaja y el descuento y lo que está más barato,
I don't go to look for the sale or the discount or whatever's cheaper,
ni el clearance.
or not even something that's on clearance.
Trato de hacer algo sacrificial,
I try to do something that costs me, that's a sacrifice.
algo más allá de lo que hago normalmente,
Something that I do more than usual.
algo que me duele muchas veces,
Something that sometimes it hurts.
que miro, ay, ay, ay.
That I look at the price and I'm like, oh man.
Pero ¿sabe por qué lo hago?
But do you know why I do it?
Porque esa mujer todo el año
Because that woman, the entire year,
me cuida,
she takes care of me.
me honra,
She honors me.
me apoya,
She supports me.
cuida la iglesia,
She takes care of the
me
church.
apoya en mis negocios,
She supports me in my
me
businesses.
apoya en mis viajes.
She supports me in my
Cuida a
travels.
mis hijos.
She takes care of my
Es
children.
excelente mamá,
She's an excellent
es
mother.
excelente pastora,
She's an excellent
es
pastor.
excelente esposa.
She's an excellent wife.
Yo vivo agradecido con ella.
I live grateful to her.
Yo a veces digo, uy, yo me gané la loto.
Sometimes I say, man, I really won the lottery
Me
with
fue
her.
bien.
I did
I did
good.
good. Yo digo, yo no sé ya que me vio.
Sometimes I say, I don't know what she saw in me.
Hay gente que le dice a ella, ay, usted sí le fue bien con ese pastor.
You know, some people tell her, ooh, you know, you did good with that pastor.
Y yo dentro de mí pienso, a mí fue el que me fue bien con
And
ella.
inside of myself, I think, man, I'm the one that
Yo no
did
sería la
good.
mitad de la persona que soy si no estuviera ella.
I wouldn't be half of the person that I am if it wasn't for her.
Entonces, ¿sabe qué hago?
So you know what I do?
La honro.
I honor her.
Ella tenía un sueño
She had a dream,
a sus 30 años,
30 years old,
ir a Israel.
and it was to go to Israel.
¿Sabe qué hice de 30 años?
You know what I did for her 30th birthday?
La llevé a Israel.
I took her to Israel.
¿Sabe por qué?
Do you know why?
No porque me sobra el dinero,
Not because I have I had extra money,
porque ella se lo merece,
but because she deserved it.
porque la amo,
Because I love her,
porque estoy agradecido,
and because I'm thankful.
porque ha sido buena conmigo
Because she has been good to me,
y sigue siendo buena.
and she continues to be good with
Y
me.
eso es una mujer.
And that's a woman.
Dios,
God,
no hay palabras
there's no words
para decir cuán bueno Él es con
to
nosotros.
describe how good he has been.
Todo lo que ha hecho,
Everything that he's done,
todo lo que ha entregado.
everything that he's given.
Entregó a su Hijo,
He gave his only son.
nos dio salvación,
He gave us salvation.
nos da esperanza,
He gave us hope.
nos da su palabra que nos guía,
He gives us his word that guides
que ha
us,
sanado nuestro matrimonio,
that has healed our marriage,
que ha sanado nuestro hogar,
that has healed our home,
que ha restaurado a nuestros
that has
hijos,
restored our children.
nos da paz cuando estamos
He
angustiados,
gives us peace when we have anguish.
nos llena de gozo,
He fills us with joy.
aun cuando pecamos nos da su gracia, nos da su favor,
And even when we sin, he gives us his grace and his favor.
nos da cosas inmerecidas,
He gives us things that we don't even
nos da una
deserve.
nueva
He
oportunidad.
gives us new opportunities.
Vemos su mano y su favor día a día.
We see his hand and his favor day
¿Cómo
by
no
day.
estar agradecido con
How
Él?
could we not be thankful?
¿Cómo
to
no
him?
amarlo?
How could we not love him?
Pero sabe, la Biblia nos dice algo.
You know, but the Bible tells us something.
Dice que no hay nada
It says that there is nothing
que tú le puedas dar a Él.
that you could give to him.
Qué duro, ¿no?
It's kind of tough, isn't
Yo le
it?
digo, Señor, te quiero mostrar cuánto te amo.
You know, you want to say, God, I want to show you how much I love you.
Quiero comprar el mejor
I
regalo.
want to buy you the best gift.
Tú lees y la escritura dice, pero no hay nada que le puedas dar.
But the Bible says there is nothing that you could give him.
Pero lo que sí puedes hacer, dice la misma palabra,
But the word says, but what you could do,
hagan buenas obras
you could do good works
los unos por los otros.
to each other.
Ayúdense,
Help each other.
levántense,
Lift each other up.
inviertan los unos en los otros.
Invest in each other.
Y qué manera más linda
And what better way
que mostrar ese agradecimiento
to show that gratefulness,
y mostrar esa gratitud,
to show that gratitude,
no solo con lo que sembramos regularmente.
not only with what we regularly give.
A mi esposa yo también le doy sus regalitos seguido y la saco y la invito a cenar.
You know, with my wife, every now and then I give her a gift, I take her out to eat, we go on dates.
Eso es lo regular,
That's the regular.
pero hay momentos
But
especiales
there are special moments
y merecen algo especial.
that they deserve something special.
Ya me dijo que para los 5 años quiere una cosa bien embambada. Yo le dije que para los 10.
She said in the next 5 years she wants to be.
Que le cambie el anillo.
Ah,
She wants a new ring, wedding ring.
okay.
I told her when we're 10 years anniversary, ¿no?
Okay.
Pero lo que voy es, hay momentos especiales.
So the point I'm trying to make is that there's special moments,
Y esos momentos especiales
and those special moments
requieren sacrificios
they
especiales,
require special sacrifices,
decisiones especiales,
special
una
decisions,
entrega especial.
a dedication that's
Cuando
special.
mi papá cumplió 50 años,
When my father became 50 years old,
celebramos su vida.
we celebrated his life.
Y él quería hacer un viaje,
He wanted to do a trip.
quería un iPad,
He wanted an iPad.
quería esto,
He wanted other stuff.
una celebración con mucha gente.
He wanted a celebration with a lot of
Y
people.
nunca pensamos como ellos, qué garoso mi papá sí le dio por pedir este año.
We didn't think, oh man, look, my dad now he wanted to just ask for so many things and so much money.
Dijimos, está cumpliendo 50.
We thought, man, he's 50 years old.
Eso no pasa todos los
That
días.
doesn't happen every day,
Y es especial.
and it's special,
Y se lo merece.
and he deserves it.
Hagámosle lo mejor.
Let's give him the best.
Rentamos un salón.
We rented a place.
Todos sus amigos
All of his friends,
mandaron videos de todas partes del mundo.
they sent videos from all places
La
of the
gente
world.
envió ofrendas.
People gave money,
Y le dimos lo que se merece.
and we gave him what he deserved.
Ahorita mi esposa está en Colombia.
Right now, my wife is in Colombia.
Su mamá cumple 60 años esta semana.
Her mom this week is turning 60 years
Y
old.
para nosotros era importante honrarla.
And for us, it was important to
Es un
honor her
momento especial.
because it's a special moment.
Lo único que estoy tratando de decir con esto
What I'm trying to say with all this
es que cuando algo vale la pena para ti,
is that when something is worth it to you,
cuando amas,
when you love,
cuando estás agradecido,
when you're grateful,
uno no mide el precio,
you don't measure the price,
uno no mide el costo,
you don't measure the cost,
uno invierte,
you invest.
porque no es un gasto,
Because it's not an expense,
es una inversión
it's an investment.
en algo que tú
It's
amas
something that
y
you
en
love,
algo que produce vida
and something that produces
y en
life,
algo que da fruto.
and something that gives fruit.
Nuestra esposa,
Our wives,
buena inversión.
good investment.
Su esposo,
Your husband,
buena y mejor inversión.
an even
Buenísimo.
better investment.
Buenísimo.
Great investment.
Nuestra casa,
And our home,
nuestra comunidad.
our community.
Damos testimonio hoy
We give testimony
que
today
es una casa que da fruto,
that it's a house that gives
es
fruit,
una casa que da vida,
that it's a house that
es
gives
una
life,
casa que cambia
it's a
vidas
house that changes
y
lives,
una casa en la que vale la pena invertir.
and a house that it's worth investing in.
David le insistió y le dijo, no, yo te lo compro
So David insisted to this man and said, no, I want to buy it from you
porque no le presentaré al Señor
because I will not present to the Lord
una ofrenda que a mí no me cueste
an
nada.
offering that didn't cost me anything.
No lo quiero fácil.
I don't want it easy.
Y así me lo regalaras.
And even if you were to give it to me,
Así llegara una empresa y yo les pago todo.
and even if if a company came and said, I'm going to pay everything for all of you,
A mí no me importa.
I don't care personally.
Yo personalmente
Me personally,
igual doy.
I would still give.
¿Y sabe por qué?
Do you know why?
Porque estoy agradecido.
Because I'm grateful.
Porque sé en que estoy sembrando.
Because I know what I'm
Y
investing
la
in.
escritura
and
dice
sowing
que
in.
el que siembra abundantemente,
And the scripture says, he who sows abundantly, abundantly he will receive.
No se pierda la oportunidad de sembrar
So don't miss out the opportunity to sow
en un terreno fértil.
in a fertile soil.
De modo que David le pagó 50 piezas de plata.
So even so that King David
He paid 50 pieces of
of
silver por el campo de trillar y por los bueyes.
for the threshing floor and the oxen,
Él pagó el precio justo
he paid a just price.
porque lo que él le quería dar a Dios,
Because what he wanted to give to God
lo que le tenía que costar.
is something that costed.
No le des a Dios
Don't give to God
la fácil,
the easy stuff.
lo barato,
Don't give him the cheap.
lo mínimo,
Don't give him the minimum.
lo mediocre,
Don't give him something mediocre.
el tiempo que te sobra.
Don't give God your extra time.
Dice,
What
no
was
me
left over.
congrego si me sobra el tiempo.
I'm going to congregate to this church if I have time.
Si me sobra.
If I have time left over.
Voy a orar
I'm going to pray
si no me sale nada mejor para hacer.
if I don't have anything else better to do.
Voy a dar
I'm going to give
lo que me quedó después de que me gasté todo.
what I have after I spend everything.
Ahí no hay honra,
There is no honor there.
ahí no hay agradecimiento
There is no thankfulness there.
y ahí no hay sacrificio.
And there's no sacrifice there.
Dar al Señor
Giving to God
no es limosna,
is not
alms. es sacrificio.
It's sacrifice.
Y el Señor lo que pide es, tráeme una ofrenda,
And what God asks is, bring me an offering.
tráeme un sacrificio
Bring me a sacrifice
que suba como un olor fragante delante de
that
Él.
would be like
Like a pleasing smell before Him. Pleasing sacrifice. Entonces, ¿le enviamos el dinero a Él? No.
So do we give the money to God personally?
Pero sí vamos a construir un lugar
But we are going to build a place
donde cientos de familias
where hundreds of families
van a conocer su nombre,
will know His name,
donde cientos de matrimonios
where hundreds of marriages
serán
will
restaurados,
be restored,
donde haremos programas,
where we will do programs,
donde haremos talleres,
we will do
donde
workshops,
grabaremos videos
where we're going to film videos,
y donde enviaremos cosas, misioneros, programas, recursos a todas las partes del mundo.
we're going to send out videos and missionaries and money and things to all over the world.
Vamos a construir una casa
We're going to build a house
para levantar una generación que lo ame,
to raise a generation that loves Him,
gente que le quiera servir.
people that want to serve Him.
Mucha gente se sorprende
A lot of people get surprised
porque mi hermanito de 10 años
because my little brother who's 10 years old,
ora en lenguas,
he prays in tongues,
echa fuera demonios,
he casts out demons,
profetiza,
he
el
prophesies.
Señor lo visita.
You know, the Lord visits him.
¿Y sabe por qué pasa eso?
And you know why that happens?
Porque él creció en una casa
Because he grew up in a home
donde esa es la cultura de la
where
casa.
that's the culture of the
Eso
home.
no es el hijo de un ungido.
That's not the son of an anointed
Eso
man.
no es, qué peladito tan tremendo.
That's not, whoa, what an anointed
Ese
child.
debería ser el hijo de cada uno de
That
nosotros.
should be every single one of your kids.
Porque nuestra casa
Because our house,
es
our
casa de
home,
Dios.
is a home
Aquí hay
of the Lord.
presencia de Dios.
Here the presence of
Vamos
the
a
God
construir un lugar
is
para
here.
que una generación completa
So here we want to raise an entire generation
que no se pierda,
that won't be lost,
que lo conozca de verdad,
but that they would know Him,
que lo ame,
that would love Him,
que tengan un grupo de apoyo,
that they would have a support group,
que tengan toda una comunidad que los ama y cree en ellos.
that they would have a community that believes and supports them.
Jóvenes,
Youth,
que así sus padres no vengan,
that even if their parents don't come,
aman estar aquí
that they would love to be
porque
here
se sienten amados,
because they feel loved,
porque se sienten importantes,
because they feel important,
porque saben que creemos en ellos,
because they know that we believe in them,
que saben que los impulsamos
because we know that we push them,
y sobre todo porque saben que la presencia de Dios va a estar en ese
and more
lugar.
than anything because they know that the presence of God is in this place.
Vamos a hacer esta casa
So we're going to build that home,
y lo vamos a hacer con el sacrificio
and we're going to do it with sacrifice
de cada uno de nosotros.
of every single one of us.
Creemos que vendrá dinero de afuera,
We believe that money will come from the outside,
del norte, del sur, del este, del oeste.
from the north, south, east, and west.
Creemos que amigos y gente de afuera nos va a apoyar.
And we believe that friends and family from the outside will support us.
Creemos que empresas nos van a
We are
apoyar.
going to believe that businesses will help
Pero
us.
sin importar lo que venga de afuera,
But it doesn't matter what comes from the outside.
nos tiene que costar.
It has to cost us personally.
En inglés dicen, put your money where your mouth is.
En inglés dice, pon tu plata donde está tu boca.
Sí, uno habla mucho,
You know, what the saying is trying to say is that we talk a lot,
pero se demuestra en lo que hacemos.
but it really shows with what you do.
Así que vamos a sembrar.
So we're going to sow.
¿Por qué no se pone de pie? Sí. De nuevo. Again, cierro con esto.
So I want to close with this.
No como cliché,
Not as a cliche,
pero cada uno
but every single one of you
que ha creído en esto,
that has believed in this,
gracias.
thank you.
De verdad, gracias.
Truly thank you.
Sabe, para mí fue difícil dejar todo hace 5 años para venirme para acá.
You know, for me it was difficult to leave everything 5 years ago to
Dejé a
come
mis
here.
padres,
You know, I left my parents,
mis hermanos,
my brothers,
mi iglesia,
my church,
mi ministerio.
my ministry.
Dejé de viajar el mundo.
I stopped, traveling the world.
Dejé mi empresa.
I left my businesses.
Dejé mi casa,
I left my home.
mi camioneta nueva.
I left my new truck.
Me vine con 2 maletas
I came with 2 bags
a dormir en la casa de alguien que no conocía,
to sleep in the house of somebody I didn't even know,
con $3,000, $4,000 en el bolsillo.
with around $3,000, $4,000 in my pocket.
Simplemente tratando de ser obediente a lo que sentía Dios me estaba hablando.
Just wanting to be obedient to what I believe God was speaking to me.
Y creo que hubiese desmayado,
And I think I would have
given up,
given up
si no hubiera encontrado a algunos de ustedes en este camino.
if I wouldn't have met Some of you that are in this path.
Gente que ha creído en esta visión.
People who have believed in this
Gente
vision.
que ha creído en nosotros.
People who have believed in us.
Gente que ha creído en lo que Dios está haciendo.
People who have believed in what God is doing.
No es fácil caminar solo.
It's not easy to walk
No es
alone.
fácil creerle a Dios solo.
It's not easy to believe God alone.
Y es gracias a ustedes
But it's thanks to you
que aún estamos aquí.
that we're still here.
Que después de una pandemia,
That after a pandemic,
después de estar cerrados,
after being closed off,
después de que se acabó el dinero,
after the money stopped coming in,
después de que no sabíamos qué íbamos a hacer,
after we didn't know what we were going to do,
es por muchos de
it's
ustedes
because that many of you
es que estamos aquí.
that we're still here.
Que familias siguen siendo tocadas.
That families are still being touched.
¿Sabe? Alguien me decía, o 3 personas me han dicho esta semana,
You know, 3 people have told me this week.
¿sabes? He ido a diferentes iglesias en Calgary,
They've said, you know, I've gone to different churches in Calgary,
pero solo en esta encontré sanidad.
but it was only in this one that I found healing.
Y no es que seamos mejor que nadie.
And it's not that we're better than everybody
Otras
else.
iglesias quizás tienen otro enfoque,
Some churches have probably a different focus,
pero Dios nos dio una herramienta de sanidad.
but God gave us a tool of healing.
Y para mí fue lindo escuchar esto.
And for me, it was beautiful to hear
Yo
this,
decía, no somos una más,
because we're not just another or one more.
somos importante,
We're important
porque portamos algo
because we give something
que la gente necesita en esta ciudad.
that people need in this city.
Entonces, gracias, iglesia.
So thank you, church.
Cada uno de ustedes que siembra, que diezma fielmente.
To every single one of you that sows and that tithes and gives their
Todos
offerings
los que
faithfully.
sirven, los que abren temprano, los que practican durante la semana,
All
los
those
que
that-
cuidan los niños,
That take care of the kids, that come early, that practice, that open and close the church.
los que se pierden a veces el servicio por calentar arepas,
Those that sometimes lose being in the service because they're over there preparing the
los
food
que
for
vienen y
us.
limpian durante la semana.
Those that come during the week and clean.
De verdad les doy muchas gracias,
I truly want to say thank you
que nos hacen sentir amados,
because you make us feel loved.
nos hacen sentir que vale la pena.
You make us feel that it's worth it.
Y sobre todo juntos estamos construyendo un sueño
And more than anything, we're building a dream
que empezó en el corazón de una persona,
that started in the heart of somebody,
pero que era para toda una comunidad.
but that it was for a whole community.
Le voy a pedir que nos demos un aplauso.
So I want you to give yourself an applause.
Ahorita, como una pequeña muestra de ese agradecimiento,
And so later, just as a small token of appreciation,
hemos preparado un barbecue para ustedes.
we have prepared a barbecue for all of you.
Aquí estamos en un parque a una cuadra de aquí.
We're here in a park called Crescent Heights Park. It's right
Tenemos-
behind here.
Va a haber hamburguesas,
There's going to be burgers,
chips,
chips.
comida,
There's going to be drinks, food,
juegos,
games.
actividades.
We're going to play softball
Le
for those
invito a
that
que
want to join.
comparta esta tarde con nosotros
So we ask you to come join with us this
y
afternoon.
que como iglesia nos permita agradecerle
And as a church, we just want to show you our gratefulness
por todo lo que siembra,
for everything that you
por
give,
todo lo que hace,
for everything that you do,
por ser parte de esta
for
familia.
being part of this community.
Los amamos.
We love you.
Me siento orgulloso de ser su pastor.
I feel proud of being your pastor,
Me siento agradecido.
and I'm grateful.
Viniéndome aquí me daba duro porque sentía que me iba a hacer falta mucho mi iglesia, mi casa, mi ministerio y todo lo que hacía.
Coming here, I was a bit sad because, I thought I was really going to miss my church, my ministry, and everything that I left behind.
Es chistoso porque ahora me dicen, ¿y cuándo se devuelve? Y yo le digo, yo creo que nunca, ya.
And some people ask me, so when are you going back to Toronto? And I'm like, I don't think I'm ever going back
Porque amo este lugar
because I love this
y
place.
amo esta casa.
And I love this house.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Permítame orar por todos.
Just let me pray for you.
Señor, hoy te queremos honrar.
God, today we want to honor you.
Te quiero bendecir por todo lo que has hecho,
We want to bless you for everything
por
that
tu
you've
gran
done,
amor con nosotros,
for your great love with
porque
us,
tú nos trajiste a esta ciudad de Calgary,
because you brought us to the city of Calgary,
quizás muy lejos de nuestra tierra natal,
probably from very far from our native country,
pero es un lugar que tú amas
but it's a place that you love,
y aquí hay gente que tú amas
and there are people here which you love,
y nos trajiste aquí con propósito,
and you brought us here with a purpose,
no solo para conseguir trabajos,
not only to find a job,
no solo para hacer algo de dinero,
not only to make some money.
tú nos trajiste aquí
You brought us here
porque hay familias que querías sanar,
because there are families here that you wanted
porque hay
to
una
heal.
juventud que querías rescatar,
There is a generation of youth that you want to rescue,
porque hay una generación de hijos tuyos
because there's a generation of children
que perdió su camino,
that lost their way,
pero tú los quieres rescatar.
but you want to rescue them.
Tú nos trajiste a esta ciudad
So you brought us to this city
para ser tus manos,
to be your hands,
para ser tus pies,
to be your feet,
para ser tu boca,
to be your mouth,
para ser de bendición.
to be a
Y
blessing.
gracias porque en estos 5 años
And we thank you because in these 5
hemos
years,
podido ser luz,
we have been able to be light.
hemos podido ser esperanza,
We have been able to be hope.
hemos podido ser una mano amiga
We have been able to be that helping hand.
y hemos podido ser un refugio
And we have been able to be a refuge
para muchos.
to many people.
Gracias,
Thank you.
porque nos trajiste aquí con propósito
Because you brought us here with a purpose.
y ese propósito continúa.
And that purpose will continue.
Ese propósito cada vez lo vemos con mayor claridad.
That purpose that each day we see with greater clarity.
Nos damos cuenta que es más grande de lo que algún día
And we
soñamos.
begin to realize that it's greater than we could have ever imagined
Gracias porque no
before.
nos trajiste aquí para volver
And
atrás,
so we thank you because you brought us here not to go back,
pero para poseer la tierra,
but you brought us here to possess the
para
land,
ser
to
bendición,
be a blessing,
para bendecir y transformar,
to bless and to
y
transform,
para llenar esta ciudad de esperanza.
and to fill this city with hope.
Y como dice en Apocalipsis,
And as it says in Revelations,
que de la hoja del árbol,
that as the leaf from a tree,
de esa hoja saldrá bendición a todas las naciones.
that leaf will go and give blessing to all the
Creemos
nations.
que Canadá,
We believe that Canada,
que es la nación de la hoja del árbol,
that is the nation with the leaf from the tree,
que de esta nación
that from this nation
saldrá bendición
blessings will pour out
para todas las naciones de
to
la
all of the
tierra.
other nations of
Que
the
de
earth.
esta casa
That from this home,
saldrá una generación de misioneros,
that a generation of
de
missionaries,
pastores,
of pastors,
evangelistas, apóstoles,
evangelists,
profetas,
prophets, teachers,
hombres, mujeres de negocios,
men and women of business,
políticos, de gente influyente
politicians and influential people,
que tendrá como agenda
that they will have as their agenda,
y que tendrá como prioridad
and as a priority they will
extender
have
tu reino y tu justicia.
to extend your kingdom and justice.
No somos una comunidad minoritaria,
We're not just a minority community,
somos una comunidad
we're a community
llamada a ser cabeza y no cola,
called to be the head and not the
a
tail,
bendecir,
to bless,
a prestar y no pedir prestado,
to give and not to borrow,
a marcar la
to
diferencia
make a difference
y a traer transformación.
and to bring transformation.
Creemos tu promesa
We believe in
y
your
te damos
promise,
gracias
and we
por
thank
todo lo
you
que has hecho
for everything that you've
y
done
por todo lo que viene.
and for everything that is coming.
Señor, y hoy tenemos expectativa
And God, today we have expectations
Y fe.
and faith
por todo lo que estás a punto de hacer
for everything that you're about to do
y desatar.
and to pour out.
Y sabemos
And we know
que lo que ocurre en nuestra casa espiritual
that what happens in our spiritual
y
home
sobre nuestra autoridad
and over our authority
se derrama
will be poured out
sobre nuestras vidas
over our personal
y
lives.
que a medida
And that in the midst,
que como iglesia prosperamos,
that as a church we
que
prosper,
nos mudamos a nueva casa,
that we move to a new
a
house,
cosas más excelentes
to more excellent
y a
things,
cosas
and
mayores,
to greater
que
things,
esto se traduzca
that this will translate
en personas y
in
familias
people and in families
adquiriendo sus viviendas,
that we are desiring their own homes,
adquiriendo viviendas, buying their homes, comprando casas nuevas,
that they will buy new houses,
que lleves a lugares y a oportunidades más
that you will
excelentes
take them to better and more
y
excellent
que lo que
opportunities,
ocurra en la iglesia
and that what happens in the church
se refleje en la vida de cada persona,
will reflect in every
que
single
entremos a
person,
una etapa de mayor excelencia,
that we will enter into a greater level of excellence,
de amplitud
of amplifying
y de bendición,
and of blessing,
porque esa es tu promesa.
because that is your promise.
Gracias
Thank you
por cada
for
familia.
every single
Yo te
family.
pido
I ask
que cada semilla que ellos han sembrado
that every seed that they have sown
de tiempo,
of time,
de servicio,
of service,
de amor,
of love,
de compasión,
of compassion,
de dinero,
of money,
le sea multiplicada
that it would be multiplied
al 100 por uno
100-fold,
y que venga una cosecha,
and that a sowing would come to them, a great harvest,
venga una cosecha abundante,
a great harvest,
una cosecha con creces
a harvest that would just pour out,
y que traiga consigo nuevas puertas,
and that in that harvest would be a new doors opening,
nuevas oportunidades,
new opportunities,
favor de Dios sobre sus vidas
favor of God over their life,
y que puedan entrar
and that they would be able to
a esa
enter
tierra prometida
into that promised
que tú
land
tienes para
that you
cada uno
have
de
for
ellos.
them.
Yo los bendigo en el nombre de
I
Jesús.
bless them in the name of Jesus.
Como pastor los bendigo,
As a pastor, I bless them.
los honro
I honor
y
them.
te doy gracias
And I want to give you
por darme el
thanks
privilegio
for giving me the privilege
de liderar una iglesia
of being able to lead a church
y una gente
of people
tan hermosa,
so beautiful,
tan comprometida,
so committed,
tan apasionada,
so passionate,
tan generosa.
so
Yo los
generous.
bendigo
I bless
y
them,
declaro bendición sobre
and I
ellos.
declare blessing over them.
Puertas abiertas,
Open doors,
tiempos nuevos
new time
para cada familia,
for every single
para
family
esta comunidad.
and for this community.
Lo oramos,
We pray this
te damos la gloria y la
and we
honra
give you the glory
en
and
el
the honor.
nombre de
In
Jesús.
the name of Jesus.
Amén.
Amen.
Esperamos que este servicio haya sido de mucha bendición para tu vida. La palabra de Dios es esa semilla que tiene el potencial de transformar todo en nuestras vidas. Atesórala y ponla en práctica. No olvides seguir conectado a esta familia de Nuevo Amanecer Calgary. Recuerda que puedes seguirnos en todas nuestras redes sociales: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify y Apple Podcasts.
Bien, y si quieres sembrar en nuestro ministerio, recuerda que si estás en Canadá lo puedes hacer a través de un email transfer enviándolo a admin@nacalgary.ca, admin@nacalgary.ca. Y si estás en el extranjero, también puedes donar a través de nuestro link de donación allí en nuestra página de Facebook. Si estás en persona, recuerda que puedes usar los datáfonos para tarjeta de débito, crédito o en cash. Muchas gracias por todas las semillas que siembra nuestro ministerio. Nos permiten llevar la palabra de Dios a todo el mundo y poder seguir sembrando semillas que transforman vidas. Los amamos. Bendiciones.